Maybe part of the problem is that we have such a low opinion of ourselves that we think that the people who know us well know that we're scumbags, know that we have bad motivations, know that we won't keep our promises, know that we've let them down in the past. Like if I tell my brother, if I tell my best friend who's known me for real with these problems, he's going to say, yeah, I know you're bullshit. I've heard you say this before. I know. And if I go and talk to this quote unquote professional, they don't know any of my tricks. They don't know any of my track record. They don't know anything of my character. I can tell them anything and they believe it. My father was something like a compulsive liar, some kind of mythomaniac. He lied about everything all the time. His therapist didn't have someone like me sitting in the room taking notes to then say, yeah, every single thing this guy just told you was a lie. Like this stuff is factually wrong. Like the therapist is receiving this stuff as fact, uncritically, right?
I'll pause for just a second because
sure.
A lot of the examples you're giving involve people that are being dishonest about wanting therapy. So forget all that. We're talking about somebody who is genuinely interested in being honest with a therapist and getting actual help from this person. That's
oh no, I think they all are. I think my father, he wanted help. He wanted to change. But he can't stop himself from lying. Right? So, just really simple example. This is a really simple down-to-earth example. It's not embarrassing anyone. You know, if you asked my father, so he had 9 kids, right? If I got the 9, right? So it's such a high number, okay. He had 9 kids. If you said to him, you know, why do you think it is that so many of your kids had drug and alcohol addictions, like either alcoholism or some other drug problem? He would say to you, what are you talking about? None of my kids have ever had a problem with drugs and alcohol. And you could then try to sit there for an hour and get him to admit that he actually does have definite knowledge of several of his sons really having long-term, like anything. So, but he wants help. No, he wants help. He's going to go in and get help from his therapist. But there's no way his therapist is going to know the truth about anything in his life. And I mean, so the kind of honesty you're talking about. So even Henya, this other YouTuber, is just an example. You know, it's not that she would lie to a therapist. Intentionally. I mean, I'm going to presume the best about her. Is she capable of coming into a therapist? And if she was really capable of that level of detachment and self-analysis, she probably doesn't need the therapist. If she was capable of coming in and saying that, look, she has a history of drug addiction and lying about drug addiction, and these are the knock-on effects of drug addiction, and like, I already know from her YouTube channel all kinds of her problems in life. You know, of course, it's hard to be honest with those things. And someone like your brother, let's just say someone who's known you from childhood and is still your friend today, they may know your bullshit. They may know your track record. They may have a sense of your character. And they may be able to confront you about the ways in which you're being dishonest. And this so-called professional, they can't do any of that, right? So I think that's also an interesting, important part of the contrast here.
I guess so from your perspective, even if because you're still talking about people that essentially can't be honest, and I don't think that's everybody. Like, are you just so I understand? Are you suggesting to some extent that people can't even address their own issues?
I'm suggesting that's what they need help with. That's the stuff you can be honest about isn't what you're going to help. So you know, I'm divorced. My ex-wife. There's no way my ex-wife could have come into a therapist and presented the problems in the relationship. This therapist being someone who doesn't know us at all. Now, if we had someone like one of my brothers who had lived in the same city with us and knew us for all those years, right, that would be a very different scenario. And you know, you could present, oh well, this is what I think the problem with the relationship is, and this brother could be like, well, look, you say that now, but I remember what you guys were dealing with 3 years ago, and then I remember when this happened. That's a different perspective, right? But no, and again, that's not even saying that my ex-wife intentionally wanted to lie, but exactly what it is you need help with. Of course, that's what you can't be honest about. And video games are a great example too. All kinds of people are going to go into the therapist and ask for help. They don't think video games are a problem. You know, they're like, oh yeah, my marriage is falling apart, and this is my situation at work, and you know, my grandfather died, and I was really sad at the funeral. And the therapist may not even ask, how many hours a day are you playing video games? You know, like, and it turns out this person, let's just say they're playing video games 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, which today is considered a normal level of play. It's not even an addict by today's standards, right? It's like, oh, well, you know, your relationship with your wife would be different if you weren't playing video games, you know? not saying you would intentionally lie. Not saying this guy comes in with an agenda to be dishonest. But this kind of insight, analysis, and perspicacity, people who are sad and distraught and broken and asking for help, of course they're not capable of. Of course not.